الشیطان الرجیم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. در آستانه ماه مبارک رمضان هستیم. من مثل همیشه
I would like to, like always,
و هاکذا کسایی که حالا یا در آینده صدای مرا میشنوند،
to all gentlemen who are here or the audience who will watch and hear my voice. I would like to remind it is wajib, it's mandatory, because it is not sufficiently done. Is to subdue and control the nafs, the desire. And as it says in the Nahj al-Balagha that my nafs, my desire, I try to control it. This is one thing which needs to be done, and it's wajib. Another one is to convey the teachings of Islam, the true Islam, not Islam by name. The Prophet ﷺ said that there will come a time when nothing will be left of Islam other than the name of Islam. For example, we have Muslim countries, but do we have the teachings of the Quran implemented? Do we have the teachings of the Prophet and Amir al-Mu'mineen implemented in those countries? So it's to convey, it is mandatory to convey the true teachings of Islam. This conveying are wajib according to if it is done sufficiently, but because there isn't sufficient teachings, sufficient conveying of the teachings of Islam, then it becomes wajib for everyone, wajib aini. If someone is not able to do it, then he is excused. But those who have in one way or another the ability to convey the teachings of Islam, then they should do it. Of course, so the conveying of the teaching of Islam, the true Islam, it's wajib to the sufficient degree, but because it's not being done, then it is wajib aini for every single individual. So we begin with subduing and controlling the nafs, which is tarweed, as Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam refers to it. It's Amir al-Mu'mineen says, he talks about himself, but of course he's teaching others that arud means to convey, to subdue, to control, to subdue the nafs, the desires of the nafs, various aspects of the nafs, of the self, of the ego. Anyone who comes to this world and ends up becoming, his destiny becoming the hellfire, it's because of the nafs. The nafs, the self and the ego, has a power, and it's like untamed animal. It must be controlled and subdued. It must be. So you need to do this in order to preserve your world in this world, your life in this world, and then the hereafter. It's narrated in the Kafi, Al-Sharif, the Honorable Kafi, from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. The holy month of Ramadan is a good opportunity to implement this riwayah, this narration. Imam Sadiq says in the Honorable Kafi, he is not one of us, he who does not hold to himself to account. So he is not one of us. Would anyone wants to be called not from the Ahlul Bayt, not from Imam Sadiq? He's not one of us. If he was in a city where there are 100,000 people living, and there is someone more pious than him, then he is not one of us. So if someone lives in a city, the population of which is 100,000 or more, so it's 100,000 or more and more. If you live in such a city or town where there are more than 100,000 or more, if there is someone other than you in that city is more pious than you, then you wouldn't be one of Imam Sadiq's. So if someone is pious but is not more pious than the 100,000, then he is not one of us, Imam Sadiq says, and he is not respected by us. So you need to be, don't need to be pious, but you need to be more pious than all the 100,000 or more who live in that city. Is it possible? It's very hard. It's very difficult. The occasion of the holy month of Ramadan is a good opportunity to achieve this, to work towards this. Isn't it possible, or is it possible that in a city where 100,000 or more are living, that some of those are pious to varying degrees, then at least there should be one of them who is more pious than everyone else. Then you should be that individual who is more pious than everyone else in that 100,000 people. Let me read the narration again. Please reflect. Imam Sadiq says, he is not one of us and he is not respected. One who is in a city where there are 100,000 or more, and if there was in that city someone more pious than this individual, than you. It is possible. It's very hard, it's extremely difficult, but it is possible. There are two enemies. One is the nafs, which is internal. One is outward, which is shaitan. And we have two friends. Again, there are two friends that you have inside the forces which, and the angels who encourage you to do good things, and on the outside there are the prophets who encourage you to do the good. But why is it that the nafs is more powerful? It's because it's very hard to resist the nafs, the ego. But it is not impossible to resist it. It is possible. There's another narration, Imam Sadiq states, this narration is also from Imam Sadiq. Close your door. Close your door. If you close the door, there are some close the door of your house. If you close it, a thief would not enter. So in here, you control your nafs, your ego, so that it doesn't allow the shaitan to come in. Because the narration says, close the door, for the shaitan will not open the door. So you shouldn't leave it open. So the holy month of Ramadan is a good opportunity. It isn't difficult. It just requires resolve. To seek knowledge requires a lot of effort. But issues relating to the inside of the individual doesn't have a lot of effort to do, but rather resolve and decision making. The holy month of Ramadan is a good opportunity to address this issue of making the decision, of resolving to control the nafs. The best thing is to start from the family, wife and children. So he should at least decide that he becomes more pious than his family, his wife and children and grandchildren and in-laws. In a whole family, extended family, you could have 10 or 20 people with the grandchildren. Every one of them should decide to become more pious than everyone else in that family. Then you could go a bit wider to consider all other brothers and sisters. Then he should decide and resolve to become more pious than, there could be 100 people, then you could more pious than those 100. Then you extend that limit to other friends, to other relatives, distant cousins and so on. It could be 100, and one should try to become more pious than them. Imam Sadiq says, 1 in 100,000 you should be the best out of the 100,000. in that to be more pious than everyone else in the 100,000. In one of the supplications, that help me that I become the best and more pious than everyone else. The issue here, the crucial issue here is to tame and control the nafs, the ego. If one controls and suppresses the ego, then he will be very successful. Our father, who used to lead the prayers in Karbala, someone says I used to go and pray behind him. When he was young, he wanted to get married. There was a fabric, a textile material, which wasn't made in Iraq, but they used to bring from Syria. That textile material, the youth who went were religious, they used to use that garment. But this individual, who was a seminary student, he wanted to use that garment, which of course couldn't be found in Iraq. He delayed his marriage in order to get that garment. He delayed his marriage by a year in order to get the material, that garment. And seminary students didn't used to use that garment. This individual, he started suppressing his ego and so, such that he was one of the scholars in Najaf, and I'm not going to name him, but got to the point that everyone accepted his probity. Someone who delayed his marriage by a year in order to wear that, basically he was following his ego and desire. His ego was controlling him, but he managed to change things. He managed to change things to the extent that he became accepted and his probity accepted by vast majority of people in Najaf. And everyone would pray behind him. And the nafs, one of the categories of nafs, ego, is which encourages one to do evil. And nafs al-amaratu bis-su, the nafs which promotes and encourages one to do evil. Wara means avoiding and avoiding something which is haram. This world It's a passing hallway, and the place of dwelling is in the hereafter. So you take whatever is necessary for you to pass through this world. But the nafs wouldn't allow you. Then you need to control it. There is another narration which is extremely interesting, which says خادعوا أنفسكم. Cheat yourself, deceive yourself, your ego. The ego tries to cheat you and deceive you, then you try to deceive the ego yourself. خادعوا أنفسكم. It tries to deceive you day and night. It's inside you, and it's worse than the shaitan, which is outside. It's like the munafiq, the hypocrites within the community, worse than the mushrikeen, the polytheists. The mushrikeen, the polytheists used to fight with the Prophet, curse the Prophet, swear at the Prophet. But the Quran says, truly the real enemy is the munafiqeen, is the hypocrite. It's not the polytheists who are fighting you, trying to kill you. But the real enemy is inside. The mushrikeen, the polytheists who come 400 kilometers with a huge army to try to kill you, they are not the real enemy. Those who are inside the community are the real enemy. هم العدو فاحذرهم. Nafs or ego or the self is this. It's an enemy within. Why did Allah create this nafs? It's for testing, for trial, to put you to the test, to see the ability for you to have resolve. To put you to trial, to see your quality, the quality of the individual. So it's best to start with one's family and to be the best among the family, and then you extend the circle greater and greater to include other members of family and to include the local area and the borough, and gradually to include the entire town or city. There are people who are pious, then you should be the best. You should be better than everyone else, more pious than everyone else. It doesn't have a lot of effort. It's hard, but it requires resolve. Yes, you can pray that Allah and the Ahl Bayt help, or in fact these supplications will guide the individual and help the individual to subdue and control the nafs, the ego. You should be honorable, not your ego. So you should, the ego shouldn't control you and shouldn't govern you, but you should govern the ego. So there will be a lot of people who will be working hard to subdue and control the self. Inshallah, by Allah's leave, I am that one who achieves the best results.
خب فرمایش‌های معصومین عرض کردم، اینا واقعاً راه نماست. تو نهج البلاغه فرمایش دارم حضرت را کرد به دنیا. من یه تیکش رو میگم، شما خودتون تفسیرش رو ببینید.
In Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali alayhi salam talks about this world, the dunya, the Allah, the design in that truly you in this world that you will not achieve a blessing, you will not achieve something other than losing something else instead. So you may gain some money, but you will lose something else, whether it is material or spiritual. So it's not supposed that you achieve everything in this world, all the blessings, and gather in your disposal. Harun, the Abbasid ruler, none of them, there were about 36, 37 rulers, none of them had a long life. Without that, Harun is one of those who will eternally be in hellfire. It is said that Harun, he lifted his garment, he showed to his friend, and he showed a large spot on his body. Probably it was a tumor, cancerous tumor. And he said to his friend that, look at my situation, I am suffering from this, whereas my sons are fighting with one another over this world. So it isn't that in this world everything that you like you have. If you do get whatever you like, probably there will be something else which will be missing. Yes, of course we should try to get. It should be such that one can pray in order to have an easy life, but one shouldn't insist that achieve everything precisely as they want. For example, that individual which we cited earlier, that he had to wear that garment for his wedding, and he delayed his wedding by a year. It doesn't have to be like that. One should train themselves so that they can be lenient, and it doesn't have to be as things are dictated by the ego. So whether it's weddings and marriages and so on, or any other occasion, one should be less strict. You will not achieve in this world a blessing other than except by losing something else instead. So whatever condition it is, one should be content. There's another narration that the faithful, the mu'min, will eat whatever their family or his wife likes to eat, whether it's his wife and children or those who live with him, for example, brothers and sisters or parents who live in the same family. So the faithful should eat whatever they like to eat. So he must decide whatever they cook and prepare and they have liked to eat. One should not say, no, I don't like this. Otherwise, if you insist on doing whatever you want, you will end up losing something else. In fact, if one is content in this way, then they would be very relieved and relaxed. So he will be exceptionally relaxed because he's content with everything that comes across. Another narration from Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen in Nahj al-Balagha, that the bitterness in this world it turns into sweetness in the hereafter, and the sweetness in this world will be the bitterness in the hereafter. So everyone has some difficulties, some bitterness in this world. So instead it will change into sweetness in the hereafter. You may suffer bitterness or certain bad things for a few years in this world, but instead that will change into goodness in the hereafter for eternity. Nobody likes to have his house burgled.
البته یه نفر خوشش میاد اگه دوز خونه‌شو بزنه، معنی کسی که راستگوه بهش بگه اگه دوز خونه‌تو زد من 2 برابر بهت میدم. اگه یه خال 5 میلیونی ازت زد من یه خال 10 میلیونی ازت.
If someone says to an individual that if your house is burgled, then I'll give you twice as much, double whatever is being stolen. Then if he's burgled, will he be happy? Then this may be used as an example to see the significance of this hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen, that the bitterness, the difficulties, the hardship in this world turns into goodness and sweetness in the hereafter. But in this world it's only a few years, and the hereafter is eternity. So in the hereafter, 1 day is equivalent to 50,000 years. So this hardship, bitterness, difficulties that one has, whether it's with one's wife or husband or whatever, in this world, then one should should persevere. For example, so the husband or the wife should persevere with the behavior or manners of their spouse in this world. Or for example, the parents should persevere with the behavior of the sons, of the offspring, and vice versa. Then this will be change to sweetness and happiness in the hereafter. Someone was saying that our father beats us and our mother almost every day. This is very hard. So, going back to the state of Imam Ali, if you achieve one thing, it will be at the cost of something else. So, throughout the year, subduing and controlling the self is wajib, mandatory.
یک کسی در سال به عدد هفته ها حرام انجام میده. این اوراق انجام.
So, and piety is to various degrees. Someone, God forbid, he does something haram every day of the year. Someone, he does haram every week of the year, or that is more, he's got more piety than the other one. Someone who adheres to do night prayers, isn't that piousness? It is. Someone who avoids doing something which is not recommended, then that is piety. Then if you want to be more pious than everyone else in the town or city, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. It's doable. I hope that Allah will give me the success that I could make the resolve, and everyone else who sees me and hears my voice, one should pray to Allah that Allah give him this success, and also appeal to the 14 Ma'asum, ask their help. That now that Allah has given you this station, you help us in achieving this, in making this achievement, achieving this piety. That we should ask the Ma'asumin that they help us. These are the Ma'asumin, are the ones that affairs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are descended upon them, as it says in the ziyarah, and the decree descends from their houses. So controlling the self and subduing the self and the ego is wajib for every single individual. And in the occasion of Ramadan, it becomes it's a good opportunity that one works on this in order to achieve this with the help of supplications. And the second issue, which is tabligh, or conveying the message of Islam, the real Islam, to the masses. And this is mentioned in the speeches of Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. And the Quran talks about al-Balagh al-Mubin, which is clearly conveying the message to everyone, so that the masses or the individual who receives this message does not have an excuse that I didn't understand well. When one enjoins good and forbids evil, then it should be done in such a way that is clear to the individual concerned. Al-Balagh al-Mubin, clear conveying. Today, more than any other time, Allah Almighty is accused of wrong things. The insults that are made against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in social media. The Quran is also accused, and that's why we see people burning the Quran or insulting the Quran. Isn't the Messenger of Allah accused in this world today? Peace be upon him and his holy family. the hypocrites amongst the Sahaba of the Prophet have accused the Prophet, and these are conveyed today throughout the satellite channels and social media. The obscene things which are attributed, which are allegedly accusing the Prophet of saying this. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is also accused of wrong things. There are accusations made against the Prophet and Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, which I can't reiterate here. Who, and also Imam al-Zaman, who should defend them? It is because it hasn't reached sufficiently enough, then it's wajib for everyone to do that. To convey the true teachings of Islam and Ahlul Bayt. The real cause of this is that Bani Umayyah and Bani Abbas, they distorted and tarnished the reputation of Islam and Ahlul Bayt. We have the likes of Muawiyah, Yazid, Bani Marwan, Bani Abbas. They destroyed, distorted and tarnished Islam. As the Prophet says, there will come a day when nothing remains of Islam other than its name. History records that someone came to Muawiyah, one of those Sahaba, companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, went to Muawiyah. Muawiyah asked him, "Do you know the Quran?" He said yes. He started reciting the Quran. He said, if the victory of Allah comes, then you see people leaving their religion. Then Muawiyah said, no, it's not leaving, it's enter the religion. He said, يدخلون, enter the religion at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not the time of you. At your time, everyone is leaving religion. At the time of Muawiyah, who voluntarily came and became Muslim? It was during the Prophet, time of the Prophet, that people used to come and become Muslim. During the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. During the time of Muawiyah and Bani Umayyah, Bani Abbas, they used to kill people, which they used to conquer other cities, and they used to call it Islamic conquering. Of course, this is not Islamic, it's satanic, or the conquering of the done by kufr, by disbelief, forcing people and killing people and burning people alive during those times, the armies of Bani Umayyah and Bani Abbas. So you need to, it is wajib, mandatory upon every single individual that you distinguish, you discern between real Islam and the likes of Muawiyah, Bani Umayyah, Bani Abbas. You should either publish this kind of thing, or say said that Muawiyah said that Muawiyah sent someone called Muslim ibn Al-Tad, and he killed or burned alive more than 30,000 people. At that time, what sort of population did we have that he managed to kill and burn alive more than 30,000 people? This is what Muawiyah. And who are they? They were criminals? No. All it is that they didn't accept Muawiyah, or they had demonstrated against Muawiyah. If you see history, they used to refer to Iraq as Ard al-Sawad, the dark land, because it was all cultivated and farmlands. Muawiyah used to send people. We used to send people to kill the Muslims in Iraq and burn the farmlands. Any farms they could lay their hands on. The Prophet ﷺ didn't allow one tree to be cut from the kuffar, which belonged to the disbelievers. Muawiyah's army, they used to lock people inside their houses and burn them and suffocate make those people suffocate and die. These two needs to be discerned, distinct between the teachings of the Prophet and conduct of Muawiyah and his likes. During the time of Mutawakkil, the Abbasid ruler, that he, Al-Mutawakkil, on one occasion, those who had rejected Al-Mutawakkil's authority, he killed on one occasion, more than 30,000 people. In all the battles of the Prophet, which were more than 80, the total number of people who were killed on both sides in these 80 battles were 1,400. And they were all, these battles were all in self-defense. So in 10 years, in 80 battles, the total number of those killed on both sides, the believers and disbelievers, 1,400. Whereas in the case of Muawiyah, 30,000 people were killed just because they didn't accept Muawiyah. This is the logic of Bani Umayyah and the Umayyad and the Abbasid rulers. The head of hypocrites. That one of the hypocrites in Medina that refers to the Prophet, the most humiliated. But the Prophet didn't do anything to him, and this is of course referred to in the Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ showed absolutely no reaction to him and did not chastise him in any way. Then he died. When he died, he prayed on him and he told him, the Prophet ﷺ gave his shirt as a shroud to be covered, for his body to be covered and for burial. And Imam Sadiq says that more than 1,000 of the hypocrites, they became Muslim because of this conduct of the Prophet ﷺ. In the Quran says, do not pray on the munafiqeen, and someone said, didn't Allah say don't pray on the munafiqeen? He doesn't know this, that this negation, this prohibition was not because it was haram, but it was as a threat for the munafiqeen. So the Prophet ﷺ knows better than everyone else. So he did pray on this munafiq, on this hypocrite, even though there is, and that was, he prayed on him even though he had made the most vile description of the Prophet, being the most humiliated. So, and of course, as mentioned, that more than 1,000 of the munafiqeen, of the hypocrites, they became Muslim fully. In the case of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, well, he was the ruler of some more than 50 countries of today's equivalent. One of them said, may Allah kill him, about Imam Ali. He's a disbeliever and he's so knowledgeable about religion. So the people and the soldiers around him wanted to apprehend him. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, no, leave him alone. He didn't show any reaction to him, even though he was labeled as disbeliever and various other vile names. But still Imam Ali didn't do anything to him. This is the teaching of Islam. And that's why we have people entering the religion of Islam, because of these conducts. It is recorded that Harun, Ma'mun al-Mutawakkil, and those who followed Mutawakkil, Harun in Baghdad, Ma'mun in Sarakhs, which is 50-60 kilometers north of Mashhad, and Mutawakkil in Samarra and others. Huge dungeon. They had dug in the earth, and where there were lions in a huge hole, and the prisoners, they used to throw the prisoners to these hungry lions. So within a few seconds they used to be mauled by the lions. In the pot, in the hole where their Harun Mutawakkil had lions, there were 40 lions there. And they call the golden, they call this the golden age. The barbarity and this savagery that they and the savagery and barbarity that they applied to the people and their opposition, or those who didn't accept their authority, is unheard of. All of this done in the name of Islam. Today is the best opportunity. We have the best, with all the facilities and media and ease of use. Every single individual, until it is sufficiently achieved, must convey clearly the true message of Islam to the masses.
امیر المؤمنین صلوات الله علیه کمیل را فرستادن به هیت. عراقی ها میدونن یه منطقه تو عراق.
Imam Ali alayhi salam sent Kumail as a governor to the city of Heat. He became the governor of, appointed by Amir in Heat. Muawiyah sent, it was the city of Heat, there were Muslims. So these people, the citizens of Heat, they accepted the authority of Amir al-Mu'mineen and didn't accept, but they didn't say anything bad about Muawiyah, but they didn't accept his authority. Muawiyah sent soldiers and they killed the people there and burned their farms. In Heat. The true Islam is the Islam of Amir al-Mu'mineen. When should this reach the world? Who is going to do this? If someone is incapable to do that, that's fine. But those who can, even if those who can't, they should support it through money and whatever means they have. Today is the age that these true messages of Ahlul Bayt are conveyed to the masses. To distinguish between the dark ages that so-called during the reign of the Umayyad and the Abbasi, which is referred to as the Golden Age, these should be conveyed to the masses. People protested in Medina. Protested against Muawiyah in Medina. Muawiyah sent someone by Muslim ibn Aqaba. So he declared Medina free for all his soldiers. They did whatever they could, raping women, plundering money. In that year, it is said that in that year, 1,000 children were born with no fathers. Is this Islam, called Islam? This was done in the city of Medina. They were all Muslims, and they used to pray and fast and go to Hajj. So it is really mandatory for every single individual that this should be conveyed to the masses, to the world, that there is the real Islam and there is Islam by name. The month of Ramadan is the best opportunity to do so, or it is one of the best opportunities to do so. I've taken long, but I should say this, that Sayyid ibn Tawus refers to this, and Allama Majlisi in Bihar volume 90 in details conveys this, mentions this, that one, during the holy month of Ramadan, to be most pious, as Imam Sadiq says. Sayyid Tawus, who are their supplications are answered or not answered. Allah says, pray and I will answer your prayers. So what are the prerequisites and requirements for dua, or the opposite? Sayyid ibn Tawus mentions, in Muhajir Da'awat mentions, and Allama Majlisi in volume 90 of Bihar mentioned, that one is cleansed of wronging other people. It could be the ruler, or it could be the husband, or it could be the wife, or the parents, or the sons. It could be the buyer or the seller. It could be the teacher to the student, or the student to the teacher. So one of the requirements, prerequisites of supplication prayers being answered, is that one doesn't do wrong to others.
دوم أن لا يكون عاذرا لظالم على ظلمه. نعوذ بالله.
Second is not justify someone who does wrong, justify his wronging.
میگه خب اگه این ظالم حبس نکنه نکشه خب از بین میره، خب بره از بین، به درک که از بین میره. توجیه میکنه کار ظالم.
So shouldn't justify someone who is wrong. If a ruler does something wrong, and then someone justifies that if he doesn't prosecute people and imprison them, then he will be destroyed. And so be it. We can't justify someone who does something wrong in any way.
پولشو مصادره کردن، دعا میکنه خدایا پولم به من برگرده، در حالی که وقتی که این وزیر بوده خودش هم یه عده رو مصادره کرد. این دعاش.
For example, it shouldn't be such that someone who is wronged now and he prays that Allah relieves him and helps him and supports him. Whereas when he used to be in position, he used to wrong others in the same way. Another thing is not to eat something which is haram or doubtful. For example, it's not, the food is not bought with money which is obtained through haram means, from illegal means. One should read these things so that it will help him. I pray and beseech Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me and everyone else so that we become the most pious amongst our communities.
ما رام أحد شيئا مضمون ينصر إلا وصله أو اقترب منه وصلى الله على محمد وعلى الطاهرين.
May Allah have peace and blessing on Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
شعبان هل علينا علينا هل علينا علينا رمضان هل